How do you book 5 to 15 meetings via LinkedIn on autopilot every single day? That's what we are going to discuss in this video. But first, who am I? I'm Roy Lammers. I've built and scaled multiple businesses and collectively we made multiple millions in sales with these businesses. And today I am the CEO of 10x Revenue Framework, where we help coaches, consultants, and agency owners scale with automated outbound ecosystems and commission-only sales teams. But that's not why we are here. We are here for this training, for the 5 to 50 meetings every single day on LinkedIn. So I'm going to explain all the tactics that we are using to book so many meetings on LinkedIn. I'm really going to give everything away, so make sure you pay attention, and then let's dive in the training. This training was first hosted in our exclusive community on Facebook. So sometimes I'm saying like, hey, comment this below. You can comment it, we'll try to find you, we'll still send it. But just for your information, it was normally a Facebook Live, but I thought it was extremely helpful to also share it with you guys, so you can learn from it as well. So let's dive in. So let's start. Let's discover the secrets to booking 5 to 15 meetings. Oh, I just see my microphone is too loud. Okay, so let's discover the secrets to booking 5 to 15 meetings daily via LinkedIn. First of all, why do I reveal these secrets actually? First of all, like I struggled a lot with this. Like it took a long time to really crack the code on like LinkedIn outbound, LinkedIn appointments. And like if I can help one person to really learn these things and that they don't need to struggle like me, then it's all worth it already. And for the rest, like I just really want to create like insane amounts of valuable trainings in this Facebook group, because then we can get you to the next level. And then if in the future we helped you a lot and you want to work together, then that's possible as well. So that's why I want to help people. And of course, like if we end up really helping you, probably you're going to work together with us in the future as well. So that's why. And how do we do this? So how do we actually get 5 to 15 meetings every single day? This is via partly automated outbound marketing and leveraged setters. We actually only have like one setter on LinkedIn that books 5 to 15 meetings, so we don't need multiple. One is actually already enough for LinkedIn itself. But yeah, partly automated outbound marketing. So what do we need to have? So I'm going to really explain every single thing you need in order to really book so many meetings. First of all, we need the setup to reach enough people. We need to have automations, we need to have the right targeting. The profile looks needs to be good, we need to have the right scripting. We need to have a way to optimize the system and a Calendly link. And it's really important that you have all of these things correctly, or that you do all of these things correctly, because if one of these 7 are missing, they're not booking a lot of calls, because if you don't have a Calendly link, you can't send them to the calendar, right? But yeah, so you need to have all of these things properly done so that eventually it works. So yeah, let's dive in. There's one secret as well that is not on here. It's somewhere in the training, so keep on watching. Somewhere in the training, I reveal another secret that really helps a lot in order to book a lot of meetings. So make sure you continue to watch, because there's a certain secret here in it as well. So the setup, we need to, of course, have enough accounts to reach your ideal prospect. And why is this? Because outbound marketing, how we do it, is really a volume game. And it won't really work out if you only have one account that sends messages. So we need more, because like if you, for example, have one LinkedIn account, I think they're right now capped at like 100 or 200 connections a week. Let's say 25% accepts those connections, or 20%. Now that means if you have 100 connections, 20 people in 1 week. If it's like 200 people, it's 40 people that you can talk to in a week. That's like not enough. That's totally not enough. Because even if you will convert all of them, which never happens, they have 40 meetings. That's quite good, but it literally never happens. You have like most of the time a 1 to 3% conversion rate from chats to eventually the appointment. So like having one account to do outbound marketing on, like, it's not really going to work. So you need more accounts. So how do we get more accounts? I can't give you our account seller right now because then the account seller might run out of stock, but I already explained it a little bit. We need to buy more accounts. So we need to have more accounts in order to reach your ideal prospect. Because again, with one profile, let's say you can talk to 40 people a week, you're not going to get 5 to 50 meetings a day with 40 people, with connecting with 40 people every single week. So that's not doable. So I can give you advice to find it on your own. And the best place is just Google. Because like you can just find like LinkedIn account seller, and they get a lot of sites that are actually selling LinkedIn accounts. So you can just pick one, search some reviews, and message them on Skype or email, and they can eventually buy the accounts. But there are some scammers out there as well. So make sure you are buying the right accounts. Test one out, see if it's good, see if it stays alive for like 2 to 3 weeks. And then if it's good, or maybe buy 2 or 3 accounts. And if it's good, you can buy more. Normal prices, it really depends what kind of accounts you're going to buy. Normal prices range around 10 to 40 USD. If you want an account with a lot of connections, it's of course a higher price, like then it's 40, for example. If it's with lower connections, then it's more like 10, 15, something like that. So then the amount of accounts, this really depends on your goal as well. Some people don't want to book 5 to 15 meetings a day. So I understand for certain people, they can't handle the volume yet. But what we have, like for example, we have 20 LinkedIn accounts that we use in order to get 5 to 15 meetings a day. So 20 LinkedIn accounts, but we really optimized every single thing to the bone. So we optimized the scripts, we optimized their offers so the scripts can be better. We did a lot of different things. If you have 20 accounts, probably you're going to get less, like not that many amount of appointments. You need to eventually optimize things and use the right scripts, and they get more and more and more appointments. So just start out with 10. This should be fine. Optimize the scripts, optimize it, and then eventually add more accounts if you want more appointments if it's optimized. So that's what I would recommend. Because for example, if you have 10 accounts, that means, let's say 200 connections a week. That means 2000 connections a week in total. Let's say 20% connects with them, or 25. Now we need to calculate. 500. So 500, if you have 2000 connections, 25% accepts, that's 500 people you can talk to. That means 100 people every single day you talk to. But this is with one of the methods. There's also another method that I'm going to review, which is actually better. In most cases, not all cases, but I'm going to explain it. But if you do the normal connection method, they can talk to like 100 people average a day. And then if you have 1 to 3% conversion rate, then let's say you book 3 meetings a day. You can of course optimize it. So you have 4%, 5%, 6%, but you can also do it in different ways to get more meetings eventually. So that's what I would recommend. So we have the accounts, but we can't use them yet. We need to have proxies to keep the account safe. To explain what a proxy is, a proxy is actually an IP that that actually covers up your IP that you're using right now. So Facebook, or actually LinkedIn, can see that you're using one computer with one IP address if you have a proxy that's connected to the account. Because otherwise, if they see, hey, this person is all of a sudden like having 10 accounts on one IP, something is wrong, maybe they're fake accounts or whatever, and then LinkedIn is going to start asking questions. It's not illegal or whatever, but they're sometimes just like asking for verification. They need to send the ID, and that's a mess. So just make sure that you have a proxy for every single account, because otherwise they might get banned or something, and we don't want that. Where to get a proxy? So if you want to have the proxy seller that we are using, comment proxy underneath, and then we are going to send you the list of suppliers of proxies that we have, and they can get it and they can just use them. Then phase 2, automation. So some softwares already have proxies. So you need to make sure in the previous slide that first make sure that you use a software that doesn't already have proxies, or you're buying it for nothing. But phase 2 is really automation, because we need to automate these accounts in order to reach that volume. Because of course, like you're not going to send 2000 manual connections in a week and then also being able to chat and convert and do all of these different things. So we need to automate that part. So we're going to automate the part that the software is looking for the people. So it's searching for the people, connecting with them and sending them the first message. That's the thing we're going to automate, because then if we send the first message, if they engage on it, the appointment setter or you eventually can chat with it, with the people, and then eventually you can book them on the call. But if you needed to do this manually, then it's just too much work. So we need to use automations. So what software to use? We are currently using LinkedIn Helper. It's one of the better ones we have seen. It's cheap, it's reliable, and it just works fine. There are better softwares out there that have more functions, better functions and all of these things, but those are really expensive. So then it's just too expensive to really work on it. So for example, certain softwares are costing like 75 USD a month per account or something like that. Yeah, that's way too much. Then it's 750, for example, per 10 accounts. Eventually, you're still going to get your return on investment out of it if you do it right, but it's just kind of expensive. So we use LinkedIn Helper. It's like 10, 15 USD per month per account. So it's kind of cheap. With LinkedIn Helper, you should have a proxy. So make sure you have a proxy there because they don't give you the proxies already. And like preferably also someone that does this for you. So indeed running the automations and chatting, someone should do this for you. It's just a little bit better. You can also do it yourself, but like it takes quite some time to really do everything yourself every day. So it's better to just have someone to do it for you. You also need to have a remote desktop. A remote desktop makes it more safe because when you log into LinkedIn Helper, that's the software, you switch computers, then LinkedIn can still see you switch the computers. It doesn't see a different IP, but it sees a different computer. So to make it really safe, you can better use a remote desktop. And that's like a computer that's in the cloud, sort of, that is not like a static computer. It's really like something, a virtual server, virtual computer actually, that you're using, that you run the automations on. For the automations, we need to have a maximum of 40 connections or emails a day per profile, like not more, because then it might get blocked or something like that. We need to be safe. So 40 connections or emails per day per profile, that's fine. Then phase 3, the right targeting. This is really, really, really important as well, because without the right targeting, you will never succeed. Because if you want to target agencies and all of a sudden you target coaches or whatever, then it's not going to work, of course. Because you need to make sure your message is also targeted to a certain person. And then if you target other people, then the message doesn't resonate, for example. And we need to make sure that the message resonates with the people that we target. And of course, if you're only serving agencies and you have a lot of coaches on the call, that's not going to work. So you need to make sure to have Sales Navigator, and you need to properly divide targets. So this means that a Sales Navigator is actually a certain software, certain add-on with LinkedIn, so that you can search, that you have more search filters to search on, and they can like properly search the best people you want to target. You can search for company size, you can search a lot of different things. You can even target CEOs of really high level people. You can do a lot of stuff with it, but Sales Navigator is really needed if you really want to target the right people. You can learn how to use it via YouTube or another source. I can't really go into details with this right now because then it takes way too long. But if you want to have an in-depth video about this, just comment like Sales Navigator, and then if a lot of people are commenting Sales Navigator, then I might create a video about it so that you can really understand how you can properly target people on LinkedIn. So if you want to have a detailed explanation how to use it, comment Sales Navigator below, and then I might create a video about it in the future. Another thing which is really important is understand your target market and ideal client, of course. Because if you don't know who your ideal target is, then how are you going to target the person, right? Then if you have the lead list ready in Sales Navigator, make sure that 80% of these leads that you see in the list are your perfect client. So 80% should be your perfect client. And you do this by using different search criteria, using different like searches in order to make sure that the list that you create is the best and the perfect list possible. You only need one sales navigator for all the accounts, by the way, because you can then scrape the list and then put them in older accounts. So that's how we do it as well. With LinkedIn Helper, if you have a sales navigator subscription and LinkedIn Helper, they can create the list and they can, like, for example, if the list has 100K people in it, just divide it so that it's like 10 lists of 10K with like using different filters, and scrape the list and insert them in the accounts. And then you only need one sales navigator for 10 accounts. And then you should use, actually then you're using sales navigator for all 10 accounts, and then it saves you some money as well. And that's actually it with the right targeting. Make sure that this is properly set up and that you understand how Sales Navigator works. Then phase 4, the best looks. This one speaks for itself, of course. The better your profile looks, the more engagement it will get. Facial appearance matters. Like, try not to have like ugly guys in there, for example. Like, it's really strange, or it's not really that strange, but if you have like a hot girl and like versus an ugly man, then the hot girl just gets way more connections and way more responses. That's just how we work as men, I think. So yeah, just try to have hot girls as your profiles, as the profiles, so that everyone wants to like respond on it much more. So make sure that also does not look fake. It needs to look real, of course, because they represent your business, so it needs to look real. When you are searching for people, then you need to have faces. You can use thispersondoesnotexist.com. This is a certain software that uses AI to generate pictures of people that actually do not exist. So then, like, instead of stealing pictures on the internet from random people, you can just use AI generated pictures, and these people literally just do not exist. It's just AI generated pictures and you can't see it. So if you want pictures, you need to go to that site, look for hot females, and then a lot of people will connect. And that's it. So make sure that they look legit, that all the information is there, that it just looks really legit. Post something on these profiles as well sometimes, so that it just looks active and that it looks real. Then phase 5, the right scripting. So do not sound like everyone else, because like if you sound like everyone else, you're not going to get a lot of results, because there are a lot of people that are doing outbound marketing. A lot of people are like chatting with people, but if you sound like everyone else, then they're not going to respond on it, because like you need to have a certain pattern interrupt, meaning that your message should stand out from the crowd and should break up certain pattern in their brain, so that when they normally check their LinkedIn messages, for example, and they normally always like scan through it and never reply, you need to have a message that really stands out, that's not the same as everyone else, so that there's like a pattern interrupt, so they think, oh, this is special, let's just answer. Because otherwise their pattern is not responding, for example. Not everyone doesn't respond. Some people respond on all the messages, but for certain people, they just almost never respond on pitch messages or new messages from people. So then we need to stand out with the message. So the scripting also depends on the target, of course, like who is your target? Make sure to have that in mind. And most of the time, the pitch message itself, so the structure of the conversation depends on the business owner. So just going to this one, high level versus low level business owner. High level business owners, they don't have a lot of time. They don't want to chit chat with a random person online. Maybe with a hot female they want to, but like most of the time, high level business owners, they don't really have time to have a lot of chit chats and whatever. So you need to be a little bit more straight to the point. With low level business owners, I'm not saying to devaluate anyone, but people that are making less revenue, they are more likely to chat with people and like connect with people and other business owners. So then like the script can sometimes be different. And this is really testing based on the target. Because like with a lower level business owner that's not making a lot of money yet, you can like make the scripting a little bit longer, for example, or the chat a little bit longer. With high level, you need to keep a little bit short, direct to the point. But this is really testing. Like everything eventually works with testing, but you need to test it. And so most of the time the pitch message itself, so it might be possible that you have like a whole conversation before that, but the pitch message itself should have the following things, or actually we see that these things work well if you have them integrated in your message. First of all, the outcome, what do you eventually want to get them? If it's B2B, most of the time your business needs to do something for them so that they can make more money, because almost every business is in the game here to make more money. So they need to tie it back to money, or like that they can tie it back to money. So if you say 20 appointments, they can think like, hey, 20 appointments, 20% close rate, or 30% or 40, then that's an X amount of revenue for us per month. So that's also testing. Some people, some markets respond better with the exact outcome revenue-wise, with the money. Some people just want to have the outcome with like numbers, like appointments, for example, or other numbers. So that's testing. But have an outcome there that most of the time relates back to money, or they can easily see like, okay, if I have this, then we will make this more money. Then we need to have a unique method. So if you are an agency, don't say like, hey, we are a social media marketing agency, we're going to run Facebook ads for you. That's never going to work. It's really never going to work. That market is like completely saturated already, and you need to stand out. So like they have like seen a lot of messages like, hey, we run Facebook ads. It's that method or that way of saying it. The market is not 100% saturated. I mean, how you present it and how you're positioning it. For example, if you're an agency, that's saturated. If you just say we do Facebook ads for e-commerce businesses. So we need to have a unique method. Maybe you have a 3-step process in order to get your clients a certain outcome. They can name it. So maybe it's setup. I'm just naming an example. Maybe it's like, or let's give my example. So we have a golden sales setup. That's something we have in our business. And so we say golden sales setup, or we say GSS system. So depending on if your naming is special or not, you can name the name. Or if it's not really that special, you can have a shortcut. So you can do GSS instead of golden sales setup, for example. So you need to have some special, unique way how you can get that outcome. Then the third one, a good offer. Because if you optimize your offer, you can optimize your pitch, so you can get better results as well. Like you can eventually optimize the messaging, and that's one way to optimize the outbound marketing. But if you optimize the offer to get more guarantees, to have a performance model, or to do other things that are really valuable for the customer and increases the perceived value, then you can eventually explain that in the scripting again, which eventually makes a better message. So if you have guarantees and everything, you can then name that in the scripting so that eventually people are more interested in what you have to offer. So optimizing the offer is a good thing, and you need to name that good offer in the pitch message then. Fourth one, guarantees, if you have them, or if you have a performance model or whatever, something that's like a little bit more special, you need to name it. Fifth one, other unique selling points. So other unique selling points that are unique to your business. Don't make the pitch too long. If it's like really long, then it's not going to work. Sometimes it even works. It really depends on like how you run the outbound. Sometimes a really short one with like a few things in it, it works better than like a really long text, or most of the time like a really long text doesn't work. It still needs to be shorter to the point, but it's all testing. Sometimes a really short one, sometimes a middle like size one is better. But this all comes down to the market and everything. And that's it regarding the scripting. Then the secret strategy, and this is something that's like extremely powerful. When we really started using this is when we actually really like boosted everything. And this is actually sending emails to open profiles. So right now, normally you need to pay for emails. So this means when you buy a Sales Navigator subscription, you have like 40 emails a month. You can send them. If they reply back, you get your email back, but you have a certain amount of emails every month. But you can actually send emails for free without needing these credits to open profiles. So this means if someone has a Sales Navigator subscription and their profile is open, it's only working with people that have these subscriptions, then they can actually just target them without spending an email. So this literally allows you to land in their inbox directly without connecting to them. So let's think about the 2000 again. If you have 10 profiles and you can send 40 a day, instead of having 100 chats a day or 100 pitches that you send out, for example, then you actually you have 4 times the volume. It's 2000 instead of like 500 in a week. And the only downside of the in-mails is that you can't respond if they don't respond. So you can't like follow them up. But if you send a direct pitch, for example, that's a possibility, or a certain question that eventually leads to a conversation, then you can eventually have much more conversations. But most of the time, this works best, the email strategy, if you just directly sort of pitch them on what you do and make sure that it's like still interesting to them, so that you pitch them and say, oh, that guy has like a really interesting service that might be of benefit for us. Let's reply. And that's how you can eventually book a lot of meetings. And this is really a game changer if you use this properly. Only other downside is that it only works with professional niches. So professional niches that are using LinkedIn have Sales Navigator, and so they can have an open profile. If like, for example, let's say boutique owners, those are almost never on LinkedIn. And so like they don't have Sales Navigator. Why would they have Sales Navigator? They're not going to like use Sales Navigator for their business. It's just a boutique owner, for example, clothing boutique. So they need to use the normal connections. But like even if they're not always on LinkedIn, you can still get meetings from it. Like we actually had a client that booked like, I think like with boutique owners, which actually it wasn't really the best platform, but we used multiple platforms. We also just tested that one together with him, and he booked like 1 to 3 meetings a day with that. Well, they're actually not really on LinkedIn. So they all don't always need to be on LinkedIn that much. And it still might work, but it really depends a little bit. Like most of the time you need to use the platform where your audience or where your target hangs out the most. That's the best. But it doesn't matter that if they're not really on LinkedIn that much, that LinkedIn doesn't work. Then it still might work with LinkedIn. So that's something you eventually need to test out as well. That was the secret strategy. Phase 6 is actually optimization. And this is like really, really important. And I already mentioned it. It's just like one of the crucial things. If you don't optimize, it probably won't work. And we have like a business intelligence dashboard for clients, but you can use like a Google sheet as well to A/B testing. So if you have 10 profiles, use 5 profiles for version A, 5 profiles for version B. They are going to run the messages. So you have a version A scripting, version B scripting, and they're going to test it, and you're going to track the numbers, and they can eventually see, does A work better, does B work better, and they know like, hey, this one works better. Let's use another test to test other things again. Make sure that you're only testing one thing at the same time. If you test everything at the start, that's possible. But if you found something that works, then you need to test individual things so that you know like, okay, this is the reason why it works better. Like use this connection message versus this connection message. And they say, hey, this connection message works better. Then let's replace this connection message in the right formula. And then you can eventually see what works best. And make sure to track the following metrics properly: connection acceptance percentage, response rate to first message percentage, first message to proposal percentage, first message to meeting booked percentage, and proposal sent to meeting booked percentage. So again, optimization is crucial. If you don't optimize, it might really not work. So make sure you're optimizing things properly and make sure to do this properly. Then phase 7, of course, you need a Calendly link because if you have all that interest, you need to make sure you can book them on your calendar, and you can use Calendly. You can use another software, of course, as well. You just need to have a link so that they can schedule the time together with you and that you can eventually close them. And that's actually it. If you do the above things correctly, or the previous things that I explained correctly, you will literally never have to worry about appointments ever again. Like if you optimize this properly and your target is also on LinkedIn, then like it's insane. You can book so many meetings. Like you can grow almost any business with outbound marketing, and LinkedIn is just really, really powerful as well. So if you want these slides, comment slides, and then I can send it over to you as well if you want to have the slides. So when you're doing these things, please don't do it yourself, because, or you can do it yourself at the start. If you're really starting out and everything, you need to learn it. Okay, so at the start, it's good if you do it, but if you understand it, outsource it to an SDR or an appointment setter to do it for you, because it takes some time. You need to run the automations, you need to answer the people, you need to do all of these things. So at the start, you can do it yourself if you have some time left, especially like if you're really completely new, then this is literally the activity you need to focus on if you're completely new, because like nothing else gives you a higher return on investment than booking meetings, because meetings will eventually get you money. So if you start out, you don't have a lot of money to invest in these things, then like do it yourself, understand how it works, get the meetings, they have the clients, then immediately when you have the clients, outsource it to an appointment setter / SDR so that they can do it for you. You can focus on fulfillment and they can eventually optimize and scale it. And we, for example, place these commission-based setters / SDRs in our clients' businesses to run it for them. But we also explain how it works, but then it's a little bit easier for them. And hiring a setter with this whole setup is much more powerful than hiring a setter without a system. Because if you don't have a system, you're hiring a setter thinking that the setter can book you a lot of meetings. Most people don't really know how to book a lot of meetings. So then you're hiring a setter without a proper system, then most of the time it's not going to work. If you want help on hiring appointment setters, I have actually a playbook on how to hire and manage setters / SDRs. Comment playbook if you want it, and I'll just completely for free send it over so that you can just like so that you know how to hire and manage these setters and SDRs. So that's valuable. So if you want to hire a setter, comment playbook underneath, and then we will send it over. And that was it. So if you did all the things properly, then you'll never have to worry about appointments ever again. It's extremely powerful when executed on properly. And that was it. I hope it was helpful for you all. And I will see you in the next training again.